Hey everyone, it's mekklord again. I've been playing some KOZMO to try and get to COG with it, and it's been kind of a slow climb so far. Um, I think the deck definitely has potential, but also I still have to learn how to best make use of it, and some ratios I gotta fix, and I've been kind of struggling, not gonna lie. But I think it's still an interesting enough deck that I want to showcase some of the cool stuff that it can do. And for this purpose, I've saved a couple of replays, which we'll go over together right now. But first and foremost, I'm gonna go over the deck list. One farm girl. I have two of it. I don't think it's necessary at two. I've never found myself really needing more than one, especially considering, well, the dream of, running Farm Girl into a monster and then immediately floating with the search that it got is not really accomplishable in Duel Links at the moment. Two tin cans, I would play three if I had three. It's probably the best starter for the deck and the best turn one option. One Dark Lady, I used to play two, I found it a bit bricky, and I think I overvalued how powerful Dark Lady is, considering it's a level 5, which means it can float into Slip Rider. It's just, I don't know, I think I overestimated how good it was. 3 Forerunners, which for intents and purposes is the boss monster of the deck. 2 Slip Riders, which is just a good card, there's nothing else to say about it, it's just a good card. One Good Witch, just an 1800 attack beta. One Strawman, which revives occasionally monsters for link plays. One Landwalker, because I needed a floater from Dark Lady, and Landwalker was the best available. The other option was Dogfighter, but I think Landwalker is better. Sword Trooper, which can revive Dark Lady, so it's not that much of an issue if I only have one. 2 Dark Holes, which is a halt to most things in the game. 2 Compulsors is just a good generic trap, and 3 Cosmogers. I started playing only 2, and then I found myself wishing I had the third in a lot of scenarios. Even though it's a hard once per turn, I don't really care, it's just that good. So yeah, without further ado, let's take a look at those replays. First replay is a very simple, very straightforward game against Harpies. That you're going to see and enjoy, but it's not going to be very long. I'm going to try my best to comment on the plays that I make. I'm going first. I go summon Tin Can, set KOZMO in the end phase. Tin Can, pay 500 to search either Landwalker, Dark Lady, or Slip Rider. I end up getting the Slip Rider, the Dark Lady, which is pretty good. And I can float from Dark Lady into Forerunner with the KOZMO. So as soon as they summon the Channeler, I immediately float into Dark Lady. Maybe I should have done this beforehand in order to be able to negate the Harpy, what's it called? The other level 4 that searches a background summon, doesn't matter. But yeah, anyway, they activate the Channeler, I negate with Dark Lady, I'm like, okay, this is basically game over. They wasted their normal, they don't have anything else. And then they activate Monster Reborn, and I'm like, oh god, they're gonna revive the Channeler, and because the activation was negated with Dark Lady, they're gonna be able to use the effect and conduct their line again. They went for the Landwalker. They try to attack Dark Lady with Landwalker. I use this opportunity to float into Forerunner. They get a search in the end phase, but it doesn't really matter because with the Forerunner, the KOZMO serving as backup, and my own Landwalker, I basically have lethal. Very fun fact about this game. If Landwalker is destroyed, I get the float effects. Someone never played Goats with Mystic Tomato or just any format whatsoever, so I float into Farm Girl. Farm Girl is gonna get me another Forerunner, but then I'm gonna float from Farm Girl into the second Dark Lady that I drew for turn. That was back when I still played 2 Dark Ladies. That was maybe not the best idea ever. But yeah, that was an easy win. The second game is against... I forgot what it was against. I think I remember what it is against. I think it is the Mirror. Yeah, I think it might be the Mirror. So I immediately go Farm Girl, Shokan, immediately float into Dark Lady. I don't care if it gets Book of Moon over Forerunner, and pass. I don't know what it is, so I'm just going Dark Lady. I think it is the good play. They got Tin Can in the end phase. I let it resolve. At this point, I'm like, oh, I win the game, because if they try to float up of the Tin Can, I just have the Dark Lady to negate it, which is good news. but I decided to play very defensively for this one. They ended up adding the Good Witch to hand, which I think was not what they were looking for. Got the KOZMO REPLAYS, got to battle, tried to attack with the Dark Lady, they activate KOZMO REPLAYS. I chained Compose to send it back to their hand. They chained the Tin Can to float. I chained the Dark Lady to negate the float. And this is game over from this position, because I can float from Dark Lady into Forerunner and just win the game. But it's a very fun kind of mirror. First Dark Lady wins, basically. So yeah, this is what happened. That was a quick game. Third replay is going to be against Code Talkers and really showcases how easy it is to win when your opponent doesn't bother to read your cards. I go second in this one. So my opponent's just going to do, you know, Signet stuff, Cyber's cool stuff. Lady Debug, I'm just going to fast forward, you've all seen this combo. Lady Debug gets them Secretary, because they only have the end phase, the Microcoder, I mean. And then Microcoder, they get to bring back the Microcoder with Hellface, search Signet backdoor. Why did they search Signet backdoor? It's easy, it's because actually they already had the Signet cross swipe. It doesn't matter, I just summon Good Witch, activate Good Witch effects in order to bait out the Decode Talker, instantly float my Good Witch into a Forerunner, I think, because I realized they can't beat over Forerunner, they can beat Forerunner. At this point they activate the Signet cross swipe, and they very begrudgingly destroy their own backer, because this guy cannot be targeted, which should have known. However, in the end phase, they still have the Recorded Alive Trap, which they're gonna use to bring the End Code Talker. And I think that at this point they did not have a way to lethal me. I mean, I don't know. The End Code Talker could have, with another monster, beaten over the Forerunner and then done something, and that's been cool. And I don't know why they conceded that. I guess they didn't draw a monster that they could use. So yeah, very quick win. This next game is against Vendred, and though Vendred is not really a deck that you should be concerned about, I found this replay very interesting. This player is clearly good with the deck, and they did a very funky play that I appreciate, which I'm gonna let you see for yourself. So the first thing they do, activate Vendred Origin, immediately tribute the Battle Lord to make a Slayer. Then they normal summon the Gene Demolisher of Rituals, send both to grave in order to grab the Puzzler Mino. At this point, the Vendred Slayer is going to get them Revendred Evolution, and they're going to be able to send Anima to the graveyard. They're going to activate the Evolution to bring back that Revendred Slayer by sending another Revendred Slayer to the graveyard. So they basically got their Gene that they hard drew to the graveyard for a later turn, and have a pretty decent board of a Revendred Slayer protected by Revendred Origin, and a Puzzler Mino that is just there. It is just there. Also, protection from targeting and destructive monster effects with the Ritual Cage. I go Farm Girl punch the Puzzler Mino. This is going to allow me to immediately search a Landwalker, and then I sort of misplay. I tribute the Farm Girl, summon the Landwalker. I decide to crash the Landwalker into the Slayer, but I forgot Slayer had an effect. It banishes the other Slayer in order to gain 700 attack. At this point, I'm just gonna go for the Slipped Rider instead of the line that I had initially thought of, which was Landwalker, float into Good Witch, direct attack, and then float into Forerunner for lethal. This is not gonna happen, so I'm just gonna go for the Slipped Rider in order to get rid of their thingy. In the end phase, they're going to allow to let the Revendred Slayer go, which of course is going to get them a Ritual and a Send from Graveyard, which is pretty good. And they decide to send the Revendred Executor, and this is when the combo shows up, Revendred Origin with Revendred Executor and with the Jin Releaser as Rituals as material, means they have a monster that cannot be targeted by card effects and also has to be targeted by card effects. Which is a very funny combo. It's been around for a while. It's not as effective anymore. Now there's non-targeting removal. Yumi is saying something. What's up, Yumi? I don't know if you can hear her. Yumi? Yumi? Ah, I'm gonna get Yumi on my desk, and she's gonna be able to co-commentate this game. Yumi? which immediately got off the decks. Anyway, they have a 3000 attack untargetable monster. Fortunately for me, KOZMO does not target, so I'm going to be able to, you know, banish the Executor, float into Tin Can, and in the end phase, I'm going to tribute Tin Can. That's a mistake that I make a lot. Sometimes I don't have enough names for Tin Can to resolve, so I just activate it in the end phase. Doesn't matter, this is going to get me 1000 life points in the standby phase, and this is, you know, lethal anyway. Sword Trooper, Shokan, and Sword Trooper full into Super, and the game's over. Yeah! Good game! And last but certainly not least, this replay is against Necros, and I think it showcases the limits of the deck pretty well. So he is going first. He's just gonna normal Shokan a Searcher, Manju, as it were, which is, you know, pretty much the best ritual super card ever printed into Duel Links. Bryonak is gonna discard itself in order to add a Valkyrus. This is the classic, you know, search the battle negate guy. And then they pass. I am gonna go for set KOZMO, summon Tin Can, and in the end phase I'm gonna resolve the Tin Can in order to get either a Forerunner, a Dark Lady, or a Slip Rider. And they're gonna give me the Forerunner, which is, you know, pretty much ideal, I think. Even though Necros of Trishula doesn't target, I immediately float into the Forerunner because, why not? I'm gonna activate... what was that? They're gonna activate Necros Mirror, tributing the Shurit in order to go for the Trishula. At this point, they're gonna be able to banish 3, 1 from field, 1 from grave, 1 from hand. And they make a minor mistake here. Shurit is also going to get them a search. I decide to chain the KOZMO because, well, my Forerunner is going to go. This doesn't target. I banish Trishula with my Forerunner. He gets the Bryonak, and then when the Trishula effect resolved, they decide to banish the Swift Rider and a Goodrich from hand. I think at this point, they could have banished the Forerunner that I had just destroyed in order to prevent it from floating, and I think that was a mistake on their part, because this is going to allow me to get the second Dark Lady from deck. They're going to activate Kaleidoscope, sending this guy, you know, to go for the Bryonak, which still has more attack than the Dark Lady, and they're going to be able to punch me with it. Which, you know, things don't look so good for me. How am I going to get out of this game? Oh, I drew the third, I think, Forerunner. No, second Forerunner. Dark Lady is going to be able to punch into Manju. Sword Trooper is going to be able to float into Forerunner and attack, and at this point I'm concerned, because we know that they have the Valkyrus in hand, and they decide not to activate the Valkyrus to stop the battle phase. And then I realized something. Something very important. One, I left them a field with no monsters so that they can actually search a ritual with the grave effect of that ritual spell. Second, and this is much more important, Valkyrus is more attack than Forerunner. I decide to negate the grave effect of the Skull Knight because I have to, else I just lose the Dark Lady, and decide to run the Valkyrus into Forerunner. Forerunner is going to be able to float into Slip Rider. Slip Rider is going to be able to pop that back row, which is crucial to me because else I just lose. I have to normal summon the Tin Can and then go for a triple Nightmare Unicorn. I think, all things considered, this was a mistake. I wasn't sure what the last card in hand was. Maybe I knew. But I should have gone for the Brute Enforcer in order to pop this card. I was concerned that they were going to be able to negate it. And then I would have been... otherwise, I would have been able to normal the Tin Can and then float into Forerunner for lethal. I decided to go for the Nightmare Unicorn to spin back into the deck the Valkyrus and just pray and hope that all things go well and end well. Unfortunately, they have an Manju. That was, I think that was maybe the last card in hand, so maybe the Brute Enforcer was a mistake. No way to know for sure. But they do have the Necros of Bryonak. They did get the Shurit. And the last card in hand was a Necros Cycle. At this point, you know, it's just game over. They're going to be able to summon the Bryonak, bounce back the Nightmare Unicorn. Even if they didn't, they just have lethal on board. There's nothing I can do at this point. So I just, you know, take the L. It happens. So yeah, this was the deck. I'm pretty happy with this current build. I'm considering adding a couple more tech cards, but also a couple more level 4s in order to, you know, not completely brick on ships. Someone mentioned that I should try the Fire King's version. I'm not too convinced about it. I might try the KOZMO Metal Force version eventually, but even then I'm not 100% convinced. Either way, I'm just gonna play a couple more games with this, and maybe I'll even be able to get to COG with it. Who knows? Wish me luck. And thank you for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time with some other stuff. Bye-bye!